Good morning, everyone. It's a distinct pleasure to be here. It's been an excellent meeting, my first time in Mazama. So my name is Kyriacos, Spentzos. I am Greek. And as you can see from the gray hair, introducing new technology takes a very long time. It's a stepwise approach, and it requires extensive clinical evidence, particularly when you're addressing the gold standard. Intrinsic was founded 20 years ago, and with a singular focus on annual closure and improving lumbar discectomy outcomes. It took 10 years to develop a bone-anchored concept and design, and another 10 years to demonstrate the clinical safety and effectiveness, culminating to an FDA PMA approval in 2019 and an initial reimbursement C code for facility payment. The Barricade has been implanted in over 7,500 patients and has 41 peer-reviewed publications, including a level 1 superiority RCT, which was foundational for the PMA approval. I'm here to present on these results today, and I will start with the clinical need. Discectomy results are often viewed to be excellent. However, population-based studies show significantly lower patient satisfaction and higher reoperation rates than one might anticipate, with nearly 20% reoperations at 10 years. Literature has also shown that patients who fail discectomy, reoperations are even less satisfactory, with significantly greater disability, higher use of opioids, and much greater loss of work. These outcomes were also confirmed by our RCT, highlighting the importance of first-time right surgery. Not all patients are at the same risk for reoperation at failed discectomy. What if you could predict the high-risk patient? Over 400,000 discectomies in the US every year. Literature has shown that roughly a third of these patients are at an elevated risk for recurrent failure. These are patients with a preserved disc height and a large annular defect. As many as 1 in 4 of these patients will fail their primary limited discectomy. These high-risk patients were first identified by the Stanford group and confirmed by the RCT control group, with 25% symptomatic reherniation and up to 20% reoperations at 2 years, more than double the failure rates reported on discectomy. Only this high-risk, large defect subgroup is indicated for Barricade annual closure. These patients are presented preoperatively with a minimum disc height of 5 millimeters and intraoperatively with a minimum annual defect of 6 millimeters, which essentially is the equivalent width of a Penfield probe. The Barricade implant consists of 2 components, a titanium bone anchor, and as you may know, the highest pressures are in the disc that secures the implant to either the superior or inferior vertebral body at the target level, and a flexible polymeric occlusion component that does not restrict motion of the spine and simply occludes the defect as identified and measured intraoperatively with 2 available sizes. It's a simple technique. The preloaded anchor is tapped under fluoroscopic guidance with minimal post-op MRI artifacts. So based on this indication, a study protocol was developed with the FDA. Intrinsic ran a 554-patient level 1 superiority RCT, which identified 2 major outcomes. First, the RCT confirmed the high-risk, large defect subgroup, up to 30% symptomatic reherniation in the limited discectomy control group at 3 years. Secondly, the Barricade dramatically reduced reherniation reoperations up to 60% from 90 days sustained out and beyond 3 years. These results were highly statistically significant. The study also demonstrated that the Barricade does not compromise future revision options, burns no bridges, with the type of reoperation and associated outcomes being equivalent to control, there were simply half as many. So in summary, discectomy failure rates are significant, up to 20% at long-term follow-up, and reoperated patients have even worse clinical outcomes. For patients at high risk of recurrence with large annular defects, the Barricade significantly reduced reherniations, reoperations, complications, and readmissions starting at 90 days and sustained out to 3 years, and furthermore reduced reoperative recurrences by 60%. Subsequently, the Barricade is highly cost-effective when compared to discectomy alone. Avoiding reoperations is an important outcome. minimizing both patient morbidity and societal costs. Prevention is better than reoperation. As a company, we have been very passionate on the advancement of annular closure and disc preservation. And we are truly excited for the opportunity to be here. Thank you very much.